Henry, Prince of Wales, Hal, and Thomas are among the sons of King Henry IV of England. Uninterested in taking on his father's role, Hal spends his days in the East cheap drinking, whoring, and making jokes with his friend Falstaff. After growing weary of Hal's revelry, King Henry IV declares that Thomas will succeed him. Thomas is dispatched by King Henry IV to quell Hotspur's uprising. But before Thomas can react, Hal shows up and challenges Hotspur to a single fight. When Hal kills Hotspur, the fight is over and there is no more fighting. Feeling defrauded of his fame, Thomas lodges a complaint with King Henry IV. Thomas passes away shortly after that while on a campaign in Wales against the rebels. Hal is there as King Henry IV passes away in his bed. Though his acts are perceived as weakness, Hal chooses peace and conciliation with his father's numerous enemies after being anointed as King Henry V. Envoys from the Dauphin of France give Hal a tennis ball as an offensive crowning gift during King Henry V's coronation feast. King Henry V, however, decides to portray this as a favorable representation of his childhood. His sister Philippa, who is currently the Queen of Denmark, warns her brother that nobility in any royal court are self-serving and will never be completely honest about their motivations. A captured assassin who says he was sent to kill King Charles VI of France is questioned by King Henry V. Cambridge and Grey, two English nobility, are approached by French operatives. The traitors scheme to harm Hal and make a vain attempt to win over Gascoigne, the Chief Justice. After receiving advice from Gascoigne that an act of force is required to bring England together, Hal declares war on France and orders the heads of Cambridge and Grey. Declaring that Falstaff is the one man he genuinely trusts, he approaches Falstaff and names him as his top military strategist. The Army of England departs for France. They get taunting communications from the Dauphin after winning the siege of Harfleur. A massive French force assembling to confront the English advance groups is discovered. Dorset suggests that Hal withdraw, but Falstaff suggests making a fictitious advance to trick the French into charging into the muddy battleground, where their bulky armor and horses will slow them down. The English longbowmen will next attack them, and a sizable, weakly armored flanking army that is concealed in the adjacent woods will surround them. Unable to talk Falstaff out of spearheading the advance himself, Hal suggests to the Dauphin that they engage in single combat to settle the dispute and reduce casualties. Viewing this as a sign of weakness, the Dauphin declines. The Agincourt battle starts. Falstaff's strategy is successful. The majority of the French army rushes towards Falstaff's group but quickly becomes bogged down in the mud. Falstaff is slain, but Hal leads the flanking attack that results in the outnumbered but far more mobile English army defeating the immobile French. As he watches his men being forced back, the Dauphin issues another challenge to Hal, but keeps tripping and falling in the mud, allowing Hal to let his soldiers kill him. Hal, who has been told by Falstaff that this would be unchivalrous and unbecoming of a king, orders the execution of all French prisoners out of fear that they may regroup. Hal gets in touch with King Charles VI, who offers him the hand of his daughter Catherine of Valois and accepts him as his heir. Hal brings his new bride back to England in celebration of their success. She questions his motivations for going to war with France behind his back and refutes any French operations against Hal in private, implying that the assassination was a conspiracy from inside his own court. Hal, suspicious, approaches Gascoigne, who admits to staging the insult in violent outbursts because he feels his only responsibility is to defend the monarch, even if it means lying to him. Hal kills the Chief Justice with a knife in a fit of icy rage before turning back to Catherine and pleading with her to always tell him the truth in the best way possible.